we are back this week with our Week 11 picks. We're going to do them rapid fire style, just like we did last week. Last week was interesting. I kind of got saved by the bell by the Rams losing to the Dolphins. Otherwise, I was an oracle. I mean, like, the only reason that I didn't do better last week is because I had the boldness to make the predictions nobody else would, and the universe punished me. Fuck you, Kansas City, and San Francisco for that matter. I almost got that one too, but nonetheless, we're back at it. We've got our new and improved timer. We're ready to go.
We are.
All right, are we ready to start with the Thursday night game?
Washington Commanders, Philly Eagles. Take it.
Okay. So this game's going on as we speak, but it's very early on, so it's not like we have a beat on what's happening. In terms of where this one's going, this is honestly one of the most interesting games of the week to me, other than an obvious one later. Two obviously division rivals. It's kind of the upstart team in the division versus the more solidified pick, especially the last couple of years. I'm not putting a whole lot of stock into the fact that the Eagles blew at the Cowboys last week because I'm beginning to think that's much more of a Cowboys problem, especially without Dak Prescott. The Commanders played a good Steelers team close. I think the Commanders are legit. I think they're for real. Not to say anything bad about the Eagles, but I think this will kind of show a bit of a changing of the guard in the NFC East. That division changes winners like every year, and I think it's going to happen again. We're going to have a new winner at the top with Washington, which will take a pretty commanding lead, no pun intended, after this game.
So you're taking Washington, just to be clear?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I am going to probably join. No, let's have fun with it. I'll go
Eagles.
It's a tough one. I'll go Eagles.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I do like the Commanders a lot here. I do agree with you. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It's a game between one team that's been here, done that, one team that's clearly the up-and-comer. And it's kind of just a pick of which team you like more. I will say I think I like the Commanders more so far this year, but as a sort of pseudo-upset pick, I'm going to take the Eagles here.
There we go.
Yeah. I'll pass it back over to you, though. Green Bay,
Chicago. Okay, so we've got this has been a depressing week for Bears fans. Learning something that all of us fans in Seattle already knew is that Shane Waldron isn't a very good play caller. That team is just kind of a complete wreck, especially the last couple of weeks. Losing to the Patriots is probably going to be rock bottom. It doesn't get much lower than that. But Caleb Williams doesn't have any time. His receivers aren't getting open. Play design is bad. Your defense can be as good as you want it to be. That the Bears defense, I think, is still relatively good. But when your offense is scoring whatever it was, I think it ended up being like 3 points against the Patriots, then that is a terrible sign. And you're going up against much stronger competition in Green Bay. I don't really care that this one is in Chicago. I could try to... I missed a coaching bump last week. I had said maybe I picked the Saints because of the interim coach bump, but I didn't get that one, even though they ended up winning. I don't think it works that way for offensive coordinators, so I'm going to pick Green Bay in this one.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. You kind of talk about it like it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be. I think Green Bay is going to win this one.
Oh, let me say, I don't think it's going to be a close game.
I know you
just
don't.
Want to put that out there.
I know you don't. I'm just pointing it out because you were talking about it a bit like you thought it was going to be close. I don't think it's going to be at all. I think Green Bay probably shit stomps Chicago. I agree with you. I think the offensive coordinator change is what they need. They need someone else calling the plays there clearly, but I don't think that suddenly rainbows are going to appear and the Bears are suddenly going to be better than a Green Bay team that is good. They are good at football. I don't think that the Bears are going to be able to beat them here. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think the Packers got this game.
There we go. We can move on to Jacksonville, Detroit. Outside of Chiefs-Panthers, that I believe is either next week or the week after, this is probably the most lopsided matchup of the NFL season, especially if Trevor Lawrence is still out. Mac Jones against the Vikings was just like this absolute horror show. I feel so bad for anybody who had to endure that. I just kept and the game was close. I mean, Sam Darnold kind of had a horror show. The Jags defense played really well, but that offense was just so inept. I mean, they've got their number one receiver out, they've got their quarterback out, and they weren't even good to begin with. And it was just I don't know if you watched Red Zone last week, Simon, but it was just like this. You go, oh my God, what the hell is he doing? Because Red Zone would cut back to Mac Jones and the Jags. Oh, they've got another shot to win the game with the ball in the last 5 minutes. Oh, and that's a heartbreaking interception. It happened 3 times. You hope to see some growth from Mac Jones, but this is what was happening last year.
Yeah.
Even if Trevor Lawrence plays, I don't think this game is going to be close. But if he doesn't play, this is going to be especially because the Lions don't hold back. This is going to be a 50-0 blowout. Oh my God.
Nope, this is another one. I mean, I already talked about it before with the Packers and Bears there with picking these games. The Lions are going to kick their ass. There's not a lot to say about it. I think absolutely if Trevor Lawrence plays, I don't know. I have no idea what his what's being talked about with that. I don't know what the odds are for that. But if he does play, I don't think it would matter. I mean, we saw what they were like.
I don't think it does either. No.
Yeah, we saw what they were like. They were under him earlier in the year, and that wasn't very good either. The Lions have been good all season long. They're going to pull out a win here, and it's going to be an easy one.
Yep. I can confirm after a quick Google search that what the hell is going on there? Oh my God. That's amazing.
You're running out of time, boy.
Okay, I'll leave it here, Mike, if I see you there. Oh my God, it's getting more red. I just want to sit back and watch this. I think you've created the opposite of what you intended. I want to see this keep going.
All right, Raiders Dolphins.
I was gonna say Trevor Lawrence is out, confirmed. That was what I was gonna
he's
say
out. Okay,
before I got
go.
distracted.
Well,
yeah.
Funny enough, that doesn't really change my pick. All right, Raiders Dolphins.
No, neither does it for me. Raiders Dolphins. Okay. My God, this is kind of a shitty week of football.
A little bit, huh?
The Dolphins, we say that every week, where there's there's a couple stinkers in here. Other than the primetime game, I'm ugh, geez. That's kind of what happens at the end of the season. But anyways, Raiders are a complete dumpster fire. I think I saw a report a couple days ago that there was a quote-unquote very uncomfortable players meeting with the coaches in the Raiders because of just how much of a train wreck it is in Las Vegas. And it's not going to get any better with a Miami team that's looking a lot better. You give this matchup to a Miami team a couple weeks ago and you say, okay, this will be close because they're not playing very well, but Miami just handed it to the Rams, and I mean that defense looked pretty good, not allowing the Rams to score a touchdown. And as soon as Tua gets back in that offense, it just looks completely revitalized. Tyreek apparently doesn't have a wrist anymore, but I don't know, it seems to not bother him. So yeah, Dolphins roll.
You don't need a wrist to run fast.
No.
Yeah, I think for this one, I'm with you as well. I don't feel like I pick the Raiders very often, but yeah, if the Dolphins' offense gets going, they're still good. We know they're still good. That's not a shocker. A lot of their losses were when they didn't have Tua. As far as I know, they do have Tua. So yeah, for me, I'm with you on this one. Miami's gonna win this one.
Yep. Okay. We can quickly shift off of that one. Now, this is an interesting one just in that we've got one team on a winning streak and one team on a losing streak, and it might not be the ones you expect, but here we are. Is that because the Rams are a bad team and the Patriots are a good team? Probably not. I think Chicago is just so inept. It's one of those games where it's just New England is going to it's not going to be very hard to beat New England, but if you play your worst, they are coached well enough and have a good enough defense to beat you anyways. And that's what happened to Chicago. I don't think that's going to happen to LA, although their offense hasn't necessarily looked great. Obviously the Dolphins game, and even in the Seahawks game, they played better. I think that's considering how awful the Seahawks defense had played the last couple of weeks. I don't know how much of a credit that is to them. Either way, I still think the Rams are going to win this. I still think, especially with some of that receiver talent back, It's going to be hard for New England to keep up. And even though Drake May has played really well, I don't think it's going to be able to keep it a close game here. I'm going LA.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. My gut's telling me New England for some reason. I think this is going to be one of my upset picks of the week, I think. Even though it's two bad teams. It's two teams that aren't great. So I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it. For some reason, my gut's telling me New England. I think Drake May is going to play well here, despite the Rams getting some players back from injury, like you mentioned. I think, I don't know. I think the Pats still definitely have a chance to pull this one out. I mean, you never know. You never know. I have a hard time believing the Rams are going to pull it to even on the season, because this would put them at 5-5, and they don't feel like that kind of team.
I mean, yeah. Although you should have seen them before, the commentary on them before the primetime game last week. Oh, the Rams are catching fire. The Rams are the sneaky new playoff team.
Yeah.
Shut the hell up, NFL LA media market. Screw you. Talk about somebody else.
All right, let's move on.
Speaking of talking about somebody else,
Let's talk about someone else.
Brown Saints. Jesus, this early window. What the
I know.
hell?
I know.
Like,
I was thinking the same thing.
so there's a lot of bad teams in the NFL this year. Like, and apparently
Yeah.
they're all playing at this 10 a.m.
Huh.
slot, which is just great for me as somebody whose team plays in the 1 p.m. slot, so they get to miss Chiefs Bills. But
There you go.
anyways, Brown Saints get the win, but that is very much an interim coach bump in my opinion. Again, it gives you results that you wouldn't otherwise be able to predict. An interim coach comes in, it just kind of changes the energy in the room, but that usually doesn't last long. Think like Jeff Saturday on the Colts, that kind of thing. I'm going to go with the Browns here. I don't think the Saints are a very good football team. I think getting rid of Dennis Allen helps, but that's just like a wreck from inside out. You're getting rid of guys like Marshawn Lattimore too. It's going to be tricky for the Saints the rest of the season. Well, I don't think the Browns are any better. They have enough talent to at least overcome a team like the Saints that's really stumbling into the end of the season.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you on this one. I think the Browns are probably going to pull this one out. The Saints have been bad. They've been really bad. And despite some reports that you were telling me about before we started recording this, that apparently they don't think it's time to rebuild yet. They've still got it. Whatever it is they think they have, apparently they have it. So I don't know, man.
I mean, when you're spending $60 million over the cap, I guess
You sure hope
you better
have
think
something.
you have it.
Yeah, I guess you got something.
You better have something with that.
They've definitely got something.
Something
If
better
that
than
something is
3 and
debt.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd hope, right? But no, I'm with you. I'll take the Browns. They're not starting the worst human being ever anymore, so I think it's safe for me to pick them.
It's safe to pick them again.
It's safe to pick them again. I don't need to hate the Browns anymore as much. You're free, Browns fans.
Yep. Okay, here we go. We're getting to a bit of a better game. I hope this is in the early window. We're going on to Ravens Steelers. This one's interesting. I don't know if it's my 2010 Seahawks fan in me coming out. But man, I like this Steelers team, and I think I'm so happy that Russ is getting another chance after his Broncos tenure. I'm as a Seahawks fan, I'm not upset that kind of flamed out, considering the pick that we got out of it. But now that he's on a new team, he's kind of separated from that, having to prove himself again. It makes me so happy to see him succeed as my favorite player as a kid, and will probably always be my favorite player. It's really great to see him return to his strengths. I think the Steelers have built well around those strengths. Particularly with George Pickens and Mike Williams are very good receivers for him. And as Mike Williams starts to learn that offense more, that connection is just going to get even better. The Ravens had a great win against Cincinnati in a shootout, but they've kind of been an up and down team all year. And I would not be shocked if in a divisional game, the Steelers kind of come out and stake their claim on this division. This is for the AFC North, basically. This is going to be a close one. Other than Cleveland, that division is fantastic. All these games have been close, even with Cincinnati not doing as well this year. This is a good division, and I'm picking the Steelers here, who have been a much better team than I think anybody's thought.
No, absolutely. It's been really odd because we went into this season, I think, or at least I went into the season with the perspective of if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks, or there's a saying like that. I butchered it, I know I
Yeah.
did, but there's a saying something along those lines, and it's kind of been the opposite for them because Justin Fields at the beginning of the year was terrific. Then they brought in Russ, and everybody got mad at them, going, "What the heck are you doing?" And Russ has been playing terrific as well. So I mean, they they've oddly shut everybody up this year. That being said, I think I've picked the Ravens a lot this year. I think it's worked for me fairly well. I'm going to stay on that side. I'm going to take the Ravens here. It's a bit more of a gut feeling than anything else, but I like their team. I've said it in the past. It's the same reason as always. I like the team they've got. Lamar's having a terrific year. Derrick Henry's having a terrific year as well. I think that everything they've got there is just going to keep on working for them. So I could see them pulling out a pretty big win here against the Steelers.
There you go. Moving on to Vikings at Titans. So this will be an interesting litmus test for Simon's predictions after being a dirty traitor and going against going against the Titans in the Will Levis return game.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man, that just hurts your soul to see. So I'm hoping that turns around. But I'm not going to take the Titans in here, as I don't think I have like all season. I'm going to be taking the Vikings. Really concerning outing against Jacksonville, as I kind of talked about before. I do think the kind of allure around that whole team is falling apart a little bit, but that Flores defense is still good. It isn't as like perplexing as it was at the start of the season. It's that offense that I worry about. I think the Sam Darnold magic is kind of coming apart at the seams. However many interceptions he had in that Jacksonville game, not a good look. Any other team that they'd go against, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know. Here's where the Vikings start to fall apart. But against the Titans, yeah, no, I can't see it. Give me Minnesota.
I don't know, man. This one's tough. This one's really tough. You know, Tennessee's having a terrific year. I think that I don't even know. I can't even think of a fucking reason. I'm with you, Minnesota. I agree with everything you said there. I'm down by too much, Caleb. I'm down by too much. If I wasn't picking Tennessee, I'd be fucking winning right now.
I shouldn't have brought that up
I
because
need a few wins.
Oh, man. You know what? Screw you and screw your not willing to stick to your guns. Give me Tennessee.
Oh, hell yeah.
Flip the pick. Flip the pick.
Little do you know that was my plan all along.
Good karma's going to come my way. You see. Give me Will Levis. Give me the Mayo Man.
I hope
this is how you stand up for what you believe in, Simon.
There you go. All right. Indianapolis Colts, New York Jets. Wow, this is not getting better. Okay, Caleb, go
ahead. So after we did a whole ass segment about how, well, at least I thought, they were kind of a little bit more mixed on it, but I thought it was really stupid that the Colts would bench Anthony Richardson for Joe Flacco. Right. And I think Shane Steichen was scrolling YouTube one night and he came across something called the Trick Play Podcast and he saw that video and he said, you know what? This guy is probably right. I'm probably pretty stupid for doing this. And they switched it up. And they put Anthony Richardson back at quarterback. Apparently, he's coming out and being like, yeah, no, it was a great thing. I learned a lot in these 2 weeks. Well, we'll see. Will it be enough to beat the Jets? It doesn't take a lot to beat the Jets right now. Got pretty humbled against the Cardinals. Their defense is starting to fall apart, which kind of was the core of their identity for a long time. And so that's really concerning to see. I don't know. I think this is tricky because Anthony Richardson is such a wild card at this point.
Yeah. I'm
gonna take the Colts because the Jets have given me no reason to have any sort of faith in anything. So give me the Colts in this one. Although this is a close matchup of bad teams, not an exciting close matchup, but a close matchup of bad teams.
It's a coin flip. It really is because we just, like you said, we don't know what we're gonna get out of Richardson, and I think from what I remember about the segment we did last week, I think a lot of the reason we both wanted him to play was mainly because of the fact that we just wanted him to have a chance to fail. Right, you got to give him a chance to just kind of.
Yes.
At this point, you got to give him a chance to just go out there and do whatever is going to happen. You can't. Throw them in the deep end. There you go. I don't know. I'm gonna take the Jets here. I hate it. I hate it. It's absolutely a coin flip. I'm not saying that with confidence, but I am gonna take the Jets here. I don't necessarily fully believe that Richardson is gonna come out of these 2 weeks and suddenly have it and just play out of his goddamn mind and beat the Jets. Not that you have to do that, but regardless, I don't think.
Yeah, you don't have to do too much.
You don't have to. He doesn't have to do that. That's fair. But no, I don't. No. I don't think this is gonna be. Maybe the week after. If we maybe we'll see some potential this week. We'll say that.
Yeah.
All right. You want to move on? Falcons Broncos.
Moving on to Falcons Broncos. This is a more interesting one. This is probably a late window game again. That's really rough. To hopefully salvage as early as late, because I think this is a pretty good game. The Broncos coming off of a great defensive performance against the Chiefs, and I mean they should have had that game, right? They should have had that game. Like there's not much you can say about that. They pretty much, aside from a very fluky blocked field goal, had that game against the league's only undefeated team, and I put some stock in that. And the Falcons, on the other hand, looked kind of lost and confused against the Saints team. The Falcons have been one of the harder teams to predict all year. I mean, they've been so up and down. Like 1 week, they'll look like world beaters. The other week, they'll just look like this terrible and lost team. So it's really hard to know which version of that team is going to show up. I'm going to take the Broncos in this one. Just because I have faith in that defense to kind of slow down a Falcons offense that has never been consistent this year. And I don't know. I don't know if the Broncos are necessarily like real contenders or anything, but they're slowly transforming into at least a playoff team for me.
Yeah, they definitely have the potential to be that. I don't know if I'm necessarily convinced, more than they might have just had a good week against a good team that played down to them. But I don't know. I'm gonna take the Falcons to stay on opposite sides of this thing. I'm gonna take. I don't know, man. This is another one that's a coin flip to me, because absolutely the Falcons haven't done anything to really show us that they are serious contenders at all. They've been flip floppy at best, and I mean Denver's starting to show more and more promise as the weeks go on, but I don't know. My gut's telling me the Falcons, so I'll stick with them.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll definitely be an interesting one, but we can move on, and hopefully move out of this next one pretty quickly. We've got my team. We've got the Seahawks taking on the Niners, and now I've outlined this strategy, and I don't know if it's a strategy as much as it is a coping mechanism, but I'm going to pick against the Seahawks probably for the rest of the season. Because I look at it this way, for a couple reasons. This isn't me just like saying, you know what, like I'm just doing this to do this. I don't think they're a very good football team at this point in time. I have that like inner fan hope that makes me think, you know what, maybe they're better than this. Maybe they come into their bye week and just like kill a division rival at home. Like there's that fan hope in me, but I know from a logical, rational standpoint that that's not happening. This is a team that's lost 4 out of their last 5 games. That defense has looked atrocious. There's a reason they're just like cutting starters right now. Terrell Dodson gone. Jerome Baker traded. It's because they're just playing so poorly. And do I think that like the 4th round rookie Tyrese Knight or like Drake Thomas, whoever that is going to come in and play any better? No, I don't. So I'm gonna pick against the Seahawks for the rest of the year because I don't necessarily think they're very good or playing up to their potential. The other reason is that when they inevitably break my heart, crush my soul, crush my dreams, and make me wish I had never put on a Seahawks jersey in my life, at least I have the benefit of watching that win number in the column go up by 1 to salvage my sanity a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, it was funny. I was thinking to myself, I really want to take Seattle. Just to screw with you. I am going to join you on this one. I'm going to take the 49ers. It just doesn't feel like a game that Seattle is meant to win. I mean, the season's just not going their way at this point. They don't feel like a team that should be 5-5. They don't deserve it, right? I don't think they've earned that at all. And I think that the 49ers, they should be doing better They should be doing better. That's the end of that statement. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take them here. I think they're a lot better of a team than the Seahawks, and I don't necessarily feel like this is one that should be on upset watch at all. I think that the 49ers are probably just gonna take this one pretty easy.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say, just to quickly add before we get to the next game, this is not an indication that I think the Niners are good. The Niners fucking suck and are awful and should have lost to Tampa Bay. Fuck you, Nick Bosa. Fuck you, George Kittle. I'm done.
There you go. All right. Kansas City. Oh, the game of the week, arguably. Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills. Caleb, go ahead.
Obviously, like, there's not much that you can say about this game that isn't already presented by just saying Chiefs Bills. There's a long history to this game going back. I mean, there's obviously the famous, 13 seconds game, met in the playoffs last year. Every time there's the whole Kadarius Toney offsides. Like, every single time that these two teams have met, it has been a fantastic game. I don't think that'll be any different here, but I am more confident in my pick for this game than I normally otherwise would be, and that is my Chiefs fraud alert alarm going off. Especially against the Broncos, that offense just looked anemic. I do think the DeAndre Hopkins addition was very good, but this Chiefs team just has not been a very good team this year, and I don't think they've gotten challenged by a team to the level of the Bills. And I think, like, other than the Ravens week 1, which, I mean, a toe away, right?
Yeah.
And that was when they were that was when they were a lot healthier.
Yeah.
And they're not that healthy now. So I think the Bills take this one. I think this is where this undefeated streak ends, because the Chiefs just aren't that kind of team at this point to take this undefeated streak any longer, at least in my opinion. But they do have some black magic going on after that Broncos game, so who fucking knows?
Yeah, no, that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it too, because absolutely my gut's telling me Bills. The Bills are the better team here. Don't let the records lie to you. I am not denying that. I think the Bills are the better team. I think they should win this game. Absolutely. It makes perfect logical sense that the team to dethrone this stupid run that the Chiefs have been going on is the Bills. That being said, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs because science is a lie. Nothing makes sense. The Chiefs win, apparently. And yeah, I'm going to take them to win this one, probably through more bullshit. I think it's probably going to be close. It's going to be some bullshit finish, just like last week. I think that until the Chiefs lose, I will be picking the Chiefs. And I think that's what everyone else should be doing too. I don't know, man. I agree with you. They haven't been good. They really just haven't been. But I have a hard time thinking that they're going to... I just can't do it. I can't pick them to lose until they actually do it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's very fair. There's always the black magic element of it.
Exactly.
Speaking of a team that needs a little bit of black magic, oh, my poor Bengals. Oh, my God. Oh, what the hell is going on? Oh, I got to make this timer go further.
No.
Let me wax poetic about the Bengals for an hour. No, my poor Bengals. I mean, they're just getting, like, jobbed. I didn't end up getting to watch that game, but I did have to watch the highlights just to mourn what could have been. They had a commanding lead, and then just like what were they up, like 21-7 or whatever, and then everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and they just don't get the 2-point conversion at the end, even when arguably there could have been a penalty on the hit on Joe Burrow. It's tough because I mean I think they're a good team. And again, it's whether it's a toxic relationship or not is in the eye of the beholder. I'll let you, audience, choose that. But of course, I'm picking the Bengals. Like, what are you kidding me? The Chargers are another fraud alert team to me. Look at their schedule. Oh my God, they haven't played a real NFL team yet that they've beaten. So yeah, the Bengals. I mean, my Super Bowl pick. I'm continuing to roll with them. Go Cincinnati. Let's go.
It will never not be funny. You taking the Bengals every year just for them to absolutely suck. Because I need to emphasize to all the people, he fully means it. This is not a bit. Caleb fully believes it every time. Every time. Every time it comes around, you fully believe it, and you do it to yourself over and over.
They're gonna win this week.
I'm
so
taking the
confident in it.
Chargers. I just for that, I'm taking the Chargers. I refuse. I refuse to fall into your damn Bengals propaganda. It's never gonna happen. It ain't gonna fucking
It's
happen.
okay, because once I start stacking wins at the end of the year, you're gonna regret it. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Last game, the Monday night game, Houston Texans, Dallas Cowboys.
Battle for Texas here, but not a very interesting one. The Texans have been, I mean, it's again, the Texans are, I wouldn't say fraud alert for the Texans, but I do think there's very much concern around what this team is right now. Again, I didn't get to watch a lot of football last week, so I also missed out on that Lions-Texans game. But I don't know if you necessarily need to watch every single play to say a game in which the opposing quarterback throws 5 interceptions, a game in which you're up however many they were up at half. It was a decent chunk. Then you should win that game. And it's concerning if you don't. And I believe their offense also got shut out in the second half. I believe there was another stat there. I don't know if I necessarily need to watch the game to say, oh, that's concerning. But what you can get from watching the games is that their offensive line isn't up to par. They're obviously missing a lot of the receiver talent that's been injured on and off this year. It's concerning. However, the more concerning team, and I'm not going to spend too long on this, is the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is out for the year, and they already weren't playing great with him. So as much as I can say the Texans have issues against the Cowboys, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, fuck them boys. They have not been good at all. I mean, I found it funny that you were going into whether the Texans were on fraud alert. I mean, the Cowboys are 3-6. It's not fraud alert. They're frauds. They've been frauds for years. This is known. They lost to the Sun last week. We know they fucking suck. So I mean, I think at this point, yes, I absolutely agree with you. Even if you think that the Texans aren't as good as they might actually be, they absolutely are better than the Cowboys, and there is no doubt about that. So they should win this game. If they don't, I don't even know if it means anything. It kind of just shows you what everybody thinks, which is that the Texans aren't necessarily insanely good and that the Cowboys are mediocre at best. And that's at best.
Yeah.
That's ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, there we go. There's the. I'm gonna. No, I wanted to drag out the outro. I want to see what happens at the end of that timer.
You'll never know, apparently.
I'll never know. Wow, that's gonna be. Just wait until I go on my Seahawks rant after they lose by 50 to the Niners. That's when it's gonna happen. No, this will be an interesting week for the picks. Before we sign off to the next segment, I do want to point out that these standings have been close the whole year.
Yeah.
Depending on how this week goes, this could probably shift. I don't think we've had a week where we've been opposed on so many games in a very long time.
Which is
Just
odd
looking
because
at
there's so many shit shows.
Well, that's the thing is when there's shit shows, but close shit shows. I mean, like
True.
Colts Jets.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
how's that gonna work out, right?
Yeah.
Rams Patriots is another one. There'll be a lot. There should be at least some movement in the standings, whether that's the more likely scenario of me kind of taking a bigger lead, or the less likely scenario of me giving up the lead for the first time in the season. But we'll see. We'll see. That's why you got to keep tuning in.
Never know. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Tune in next week to find out if Simon stunk the bed or if Caleb's just really, really bad at this.
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.